Good morning, and welcome to All Souls. It's a joy to be with you here in the sanctuary, especially you hardy souls who made it in this morning. And from wherever you're joining us over live stream, we're a welcoming and inclusive community of members and friends. A special welcome to those of you who are new or visiting with us this morning. My name is Dixie Goss, and I'm president of the All Souls Board of Trustees. Joining me in the chancel are Liz Andrews, Tom Blum, Ann Bradley, Robert Dotton, Melinda Foy, Judith Moldover, Matt Singh, who just completed his term on the board, and Lee Yu and Richard Esposito could not be with us today. This morning is our lay-led service, an annual tradition in which the Board of Trustees leads worship. And part of the reason we do this every year is to emphasize that we, the congregation, choose our ministers. They're not appointed by a bishop or otherwise, and we'll, of course, be choosing a new minister in the near future. I also personally think it might be that the ministers want us to realize how much work from the staff and everyone else goes into putting together this service. I have a few announcements this morning. If you are new, please introduce yourselves to any of us on the board. We're eager to meet you. Also, please let us know a little about you. There's a form in the rack in front of you, and you can use the QR code, or you can fill out the paper form and put it in the offertory plate. Anyone curious to learn more about All Souls is invited to the chancel immediately after the service for All Souls in 20 minutes with Manager of Membership and Spiritual Care Gretchen and Assistant Minister Pamela. All are welcome in our friendship circle for people who have lost a partner or spouse at 12:30 in the Ware Room. Young adults are invited to the Young Adult Small Group Ministry at 12:45 in the Minot Simons Room. All are welcome at our Mindfulness Meditation Buddhism program with our monthly guest teacher, Dr. Pilar Jennings, at 1:30 in Reedy Friendship Hall. Please refer to your order of service for more information. We'd love to stay connected with you during the week. We have events happening online almost every day. If you're not on our mailing list, please let us know at info@allsoulsnyc.org so we can keep you informed about everything that's happening here. Please silence your electronic devices. I invite you to quiet your hearts and minds as we prepare to hear the call to worship.
We gather this hour as people of faith, with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Good morning. My name is Dixie Goss, and I've been a member since 1988. I've been thinking about transitions. I came to All Souls during a period of a lot of transitions in my life. I had just moved to New York City, where I didn't know anyone, and there were a lot of other things going on. I came to All Souls as a place to find centering and a wider spiritual view. I also found a supportive community. Last month, I retired, another major transition, so I've been thinking about transitions, my own and All Souls transitions. We just had a capital campaign. We're going to search for a new minister. Our mission statement to transform our lives and the world around us. So since my career was as a research scientist, I naturally did a little research about transitions. And I came up with a few things that other people have said about transitions, which of course we're all going through to a greater or lesser degree all the time. So here are a few things from some articles from the National Institute of Health, and this is my very brief personal summary, not endorsed by NIH. First of all, be proactive. Seek out the best information and try new things. We don't have to do things the way they have always been done. Some new things will work and some probably won't, but be adventuresome. Secondly, acknowledge transitions can be difficult. We all like a stable, settled environment where we know what's going to happen, that's predictable, and transitions in their nature upset that. My personal favorite, specific transitions don't last forever. We'll find a new minister, we have completed a successful campaign, and we'll move on. Be kind. You're not alone. Find a supportive community and step into a growth mindset. Imagine the possibilities. And so, as we navigate our own transitions and those of All Souls, Please rise in body or spirit as you are able, and join together in repeating our bond of union. In the freedom of the truth and in the spirit
of love, we unite for the worship of God and the service of all.
Please continue to rise in body or spirit and join us in singing hymn number 126, Come, Thou Font of Every Blessing, number 126.
Hi, I'm Judith Moldover, not Liu, and here's the reading. Nothing worth doing is completed in our lifetime. Therefore, we are saved by hope. Nothing true or beautiful or good makes complete sense in any immediate context of history. Therefore, we are saved by faith. Nothing we do, however virtuous, can be accomplished alone. Therefore, we are saved by love. No virtuous act is quite as virtuous as from the standpoint of our friend or for foe as from our own. Therefore, we are saved by the final form of love, which is forgiveness.
We acknowledge that in these difficult times, we cherish on Sunday mornings our existing friendships in this place, this sacred space. Yet we realize that as Unitarians, we also benefit and grow from including and engaging in this Sunday service others beyond these doors. Vibrant New York City welcomes people of diverse ethnicities and cultures. All Souls also aspires to enrich our own environment by welcoming and including others with similar values. For example, in this sacred space, during our regular Sunday mornings, may we sometimes enjoy the rich music of African Americans, so widely recognized worldwide, but rarely, until recently, played on Sunday mornings. In the past, All Souls previously provided a limited type of African American music, but on a few Sunday evenings and at great expense. However, relatively few congregants experienced it. May we continue this inclusion of diversity on our regular services. May we also welcome the diverse classical music of other cultures, as some Unitarian congregations do. We pray to expand such a diversity here with minor or relatively minor adjustments to our regular Sunday service. May we enrich our congregation and our denomination by embracing greater diversity that ripples beyond these walls.
Now, please rise as you are willing and able, and join us in singing hymn number 100, I've Got Peace Like a River.
Our practice of collecting an offering is a sacrament of this self-sustaining and self-governing community that is supported by the voluntary generosity of all of you. Today is Share the Plate Sunday, and that's when a portion of the offering is donated to a local nonprofit. Today's offering, as described in the order of service, is going to be shared with Trust for Public Lands New York City Community Schoolyard Project. And this group is transforming over 200 New York City schoolyards into community hubs and green spaces where everybody is welcome after school hours. So does everybody know that you can propose local nonprofits for Share the Plate? There's some instructions in the order of service, but to actually propose a group, go to the All Souls website, look under gifts, and I'm told that there's a menu that says nominate a Share the Plate Sunday. So if you are new to our community, you are our guest today, so there's no need for you to give. We are just really glad to see you here, particularly on such a cold day. So our offering will now be given and received to support the mission of transforming our lives and the world around us. Thank you.
This sermon is a personal story about inheritance. I first met my father in the spring of 2018 when I was 31 years old. And yet, the most memorable moment from those 2 weeks is not actually when we first met. It's not stepping into the dank deli night and seeing him for the first time. And it is not me reaching in awkwardly for a hug just as he starts to turn away and look for our car, only to have his mistress tell him to turn around and hug me. No, that was expected. The most memorable moment came a week later. It was early morning in eastern Bihar, which is in the northeastern part of the country, and we were loading up the SUV to drive 4 hours to the airport. We were on a pilgrimage of sorts to a town called Oroville, which is a modern master plan spiritual community in the south. Except my dad overslept. In the ensuing rush, I jumped into the back seat with my stepbrother and my dad's mistress. My stepmom, who apparently wasn't invited, decided that she would in fact join the car ride. So here we were, me, my brother, my stepmom, and my dad's companion, all in the back of this SUV. My dad and our driver were up front, so off we went, our own version of Little Miss Sunshine. But no cops pulled us over as we careened 60 miles an hour down 2-lane village roads, on causeways in between rice paddies, and past an overturned 18-wheeler. The 4 of us in the back took turns yelling at my dad, "Slow down!" I told him I was about to puke. His response, "It's not that serious," he said. "Now, let me tell you about the 4 noble truths of Buddhism. We've still got a long car ride ahead." The first one, life is suffering. About 2 hours in, some time past the 4 noble truths, and some number of steps into what Buddhists call the Noble Eightfold Path, we pulled over. Apparently, it was time for breakfast at a roadside stand. Not that I had much appetite, mind you. I spent most of my time leaning against the outside of the SUV, trying not to hurl. After about 15 minutes, my dad came over and asked, "What's wrong?" I looked at him kind of incredulously, and I said, "I'm carsick from our drive, dude." "Oh," he replied, "why didn't you say something?" So, despite, shall we say, our differences, and despite our estrangement for most of my life, my father and I share one thing above all else, and that's our quest for inner peace. Our separate journeys started when we were both in early college, somewhat surprisingly, but we took decidedly different paths based on our upbringings. My father was raised like a prince, but in the shadow of a fading dynasty post-partition in India. Kind of think Downton Abbey, but Indian style. And before partition, my great-grandfather was actually one of the wealthiest men in all of India. I once found a letter to him from the Viceroy of India. For those of you who don't know, that's essentially, the closest to the British crown as you could get at the time. From the Viceroy of India, thanking him for donating an ambulance to the British front in World War I in the Ottoman Empire. Family lore has it that kings actually owed him money. So it was from this perch that my father flew to Boston and attended MIT in the early 1970s, which was a miracle at the time for anyone from India. Yet after one semester, he decided that he was going to cable his parents, because you couldn't actually call back in those days. And I quote, "If nirvana existence's aim, MIT study irrelevant, becoming a Buddhist monk, request blessings. And off he went to Vermont, not to be heard from for quite a while. My early years were the opposite. One of my earliest memories of money was in middle school in the late 1990s. My mom and I lived in rural Northern California at the time, and I had taken up baking as a hobby that I could fund with food stamps, for the most part. One day I decided that I just had to make caramel, and I needed a candy thermometer to do it properly, but it was either that or gas for our truck. Determined, I scoured the couch for loose change, and I raided my piggy bank, and I put together $4. The caramel was delicious. It was from this foxhole that I latched onto college as a way out. Push, push, push. The weariness after a long semester was nothing compared to the weariness of moving from a couch to couch as a 13-year-old. And it was nothing compared to my anxious prayers to stay in one place long enough to make friends. And yet, no matter how hard I pushed or how fast I ran, nothing was ever enough. College, then grad school, the corporate ladder, living life on a perch that I built myself, much of which actually was here at All Souls, and with the support of key people along the way. And yet, both my dad and I have been craving something that always seems just out of reach. For him, he wants to feel valued. For me, I want the financial security that I lacked as a child, which is why I nearly fainted when I learned what I stood to inherit. Days before the car ride of suffering, I had what I call my Lion King moment. You may remember early in the movie, high on a cliff, Mufasa turns to Simba and he says, "Everything the light touches is our kingdom." So one day, my father and I drove to a hilltop and hiked to the peak. It was a 360-degree view of the horizon. "Son, look around. Everything you see used to belong to us." He turned, pointing to various villages and farms that we actually still owned. And as the eldest son, it would all eventually be mine. We then returned home. I learned the history, both distant and recent, of everything from marriages and second marriages, while still married to the first wife, births, deaths, conflicts within the family and the family business. Conflicts actually were the main theme. They took center stage. Our primary source of revenue for the family business came from lawsuits against people who were encroaching on our land. About half the time, my father, brother, and stepmother were fighting with each other in Hindi, which I didn't understand, probably for the best. Long ago, in a fit of rage, and this is my favorite story, my grandfather melted down my great-grandfather's favorite chair. Now, how do you melt down a chair? It was solid gold. Because, what else would it be? I yearned for even an ounce of the wealth my father had. I felt compelled to jump into the fray, no matter how toxic. I felt an obligation to my ancestors, whose paintings hung in the Great Hall, and whose initials adorned the solid silver furnishings throughout the family home. So I tried. For the rest of the trip and after, I tried taking an interest in the family business, tried taking on the role of eldest son in a Hindu family, which is a special role. And I tried playing peacemaker into a family that was mine, but Also, not really. I was lost. So eventually, those of you who know me know that I love to research. I found 2 guidebooks. The first was kind of on the nose. It was called The Destructive Power of Family Wealth. The second, Crazy Rich Asians. I reached out to the author of the first. He was a retired lawyer living in Hong Kong, and I thought he could at least help me ask the right questions. He would take my case, he said, but he would need a $5,000 retainer. He provided wire instructions to a bank in Switzerland. After a near mishap, when my bank tried to send the money to Swaziland, we got started. What I remember most is actually not the specific guidance, but my family's reactions when I started asking pointed questions that challenged their dynamic. My father, who until then was so determined to bring me into the fold, just clammed up. My stepmother ceased all communication whatsoever, and my brother only called to ask if he could drop out of college in Bangalore and then come live with me here in New York City. For years, I persisted. Eventually, I found a lecture at the Harvard Club about running a family business. Seemed appropriate. The key takeaways were this. First, history is important, but don't let it dictate the future. Past generations will try to prevent change like a hand from the grave. Second, family businesses are actually families first. They must have love at the center, or they fall apart. Years after that, I found a reputable lawyer in Bangalore that specialized in real estate. After just 30 minutes, she ended the call. You want my advice? Don't bother. There are tons of families in a position like yours. Nothing good ever comes from it. I sat stunned, but somehow lighter. This lawyer was echoing my dad's lecture from that car ride, what I remembered of it anyway. We create our own suffering by grasping for things that we cannot control. Rather, I was suffering because I was grasping for things that I couldn't control. My life had been difficult and frankly just strange, but I could influence at least some of my own suffering. The only way out really was acceptance and, God willing, release. So fast forward to this past Thanksgiving. My wife and I decided to spend it alone at a hotel in Kingston, upstate. That Friday morning, I woke to find several missed calls and texts on WhatsApp. My father's staff had called, so had his mistress. He had been in and out of the hospital a few times lately, most recently for what he called a minor heart attack. Sure, Dad. I called back, no answer. God, was this it? My phone rang an hour later, just as I sat down with my latte at the local bookstore. It was my dad. I left my latte at the table and stepped outside into a snow flurry, holding my phone up for the video call. This time it really was minor, a quickly resolved post-op complication, so we talked. It was the first time in about 2 years we talked at length about anything, really. I shared my life updates. I knew he would be especially proud of me for my role here at All Souls as a board trustee at the time and a deacon nominee. As the conversation went on, my hands started to go numb from the cold. All right, Dad, it was great catching up. I'm really glad you're okay, but I've got to go now. My hands are about to freeze off. He replied, Oh, it's not that cold there. Didn't you used to live in Boston? Anyway, let me tell you about the Gospel of Thomas. I listened for a while. Thomas was his favorite. In his telling, Thomas saw Jesus as a person, imperfect, but loved anyway. All right, Dad, I'm really getting cold now, I said. I love you. I'll talk to you soon.
Now, please rise as you are willing and able to sing hymn number 159, This Is My Song.
Can you all hear me? Like this? Okay, good. Thank you. So I'll just hold it. So, just leaving you with a reflection that no life at all on this earth is free from grief or loss or disappointment or sorrow. We all have to have some in some measure. And sometimes the most frustrating thing is that often these things happen to us and we've done nothing wrong. It's just something happens, something bad happens and it's out of our control. But there is something that is always, always, always in our control. And that is how we react to adversity and how we cope with it. And we have a choice. We can curl up into a ball and withdraw from the world. We can be bitter and angry and annoyed at everyone and everything. Or we can say, all right, this happened, and we can suck it up and go on with our lives. And often being in a community like this one will help us do that. And we can take joy in how we have dealt with adversity. And I hope we all leave here knowing that, and knowing that we can radiate out hope and courage and compassion to our broken, needy world. Thank you.
Fire, commitment, and the love of this community with us always. And now and going, may
light of His love shine down on us and out from within us, and bring gracious to us this is the day we are given. Let us rejoice and be glad in it.